if she's experiencing a manic episode, that means she's experiencing hyperactivity, and one of the biggest things is impulsivity and especially hypersexuality, which makes her a perfect target for him.
Yep.
Here he is, a sexual molester, and she has these impulses right now, and he's going to take advantage of her mental illness.
Wendy, we're going to talk to the dad in just a second, but I was upset by these poor families desperate to get their daughter back, and our panel in the last block was sort of taken off after the parents a little bit. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and actually I noticed, Dr. Drew, that you were the only parent in the last panel who really understands what kids do. I mean, for instance, I've got an 11-year-old in the green room right now on an iPad. I hope she's just watching Netflix, not sending 2,000 texts. But you know, there are these moments where kids do have access to tech and can do things.
Yeah.
And I think it's really unfair to blame the parents.
I agree.
Well, let's bring Dad in. His name is Roger Lyon. He's Ashley's father. Roger, thank you for joining us. And can you tell us first how Ashley met Stephen?
Thanks for having me, Dr. Drew. Sure. From my understanding, this started, I became aware of it about 2 months ago. I was sitting outside. I had just returned home from work. We have a nice lanai and pool area. It's pretty popular in the Florida area. And sitting outside with my wife, and I'd seen this gentleman go by. I wouldn't qualify him as a gentleman, but he went by on a skateboard. And I said, honey, who's that?
And it's a 41-year-old. That's weird. A 41-year-old on a skateboard is already weird.
Exactly. And then he came back around, skating down the other side of the street, and he kept staring at us. I'm a military veteran. I know how to stare back, and he kind of waved, and I just kept staring. And I inquired as to who it was, and they said, oh, that's his friend's, or Ashley's friend's dad. And I said, I've never seen this guy before, but I don't like him. I got a vibe off of him. I said, this is, you know, not a bad dude. He just creeped me out really bad.
But then you found out that he was contacting your daughter. What measures did you take to get in the way of that?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 weeks prior to Ashley's disappearance, what had happened was we were contacted by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. They said, we're on Bloomingdale Avenue, which is several blocks away from my house, around the corner. It's the main road into our housing development. He said, your daughter's here, need you to come and pick her up. My wife, Michelle, went out, met with the sheriff's deputy, and, of course, there was Stephen Meyer, along with his son and my daughter. Apparently, one of them was in possession of some type of drug paraphernalia. And
what'd you do, Roger? How did you? Because I know a lot of people out there are thinking the way my last panel did, is, oh, the parents should have done more. Give them a sense of how tough this is. What did you do?
Okay, well, as soon as she came home, I got extremely stern, as well as my wife. My wife was probably a lot more stern than me, but she lost her laptop. That was gone. That's since been in the possession of her oldest brother, Greg. He's 26. I checked her cell phone. There is no mention of a Stephen or a Meyer or a Steve Meyer or anything like that in her cell phone.
Right.
Just a couple of friends. I said, okay. And then we said, look, you're grounded indefinitely, and you are never to be around these people again. I never liked the Sons to begin with in the 4 years we've lived here, and this guy was just the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Right.
And I said, no way, no how. It's not going to happen.
And she still slipped out. Roger, I'm sorry, I've got to wrap this up. Well, if your daughter's listening, what would you want her to know right now?
What I want her to know is she's not in trouble. I need her to come home.
Yeah.
Her mother and her brothers and I miss her terribly.
Yeah.
And the rest of the family misses her terribly.
Yeah.
And we just need her to come home so we can give her the help and love that she needs.